Cool. So welcome to Python. Just I don't know if you guys, if I even introduced myself, so I'm just going to do like a quick introduction. We're not going to go around because we've all done that before, so we can skip that part. But my name's Tyler Maxwell. Just a little bit about my background. I am new to this. I went to a boot camp myself. I didn't go to Coding Dojo, but I graduated from another boot camp with a similar structure. I sort of have a interesting background. I dropped out of college and I joined the LA County Sheriff's Department. I was deputy sheriff for about 10 years. Didn't like that. So I changed and became a teacher. I did that for about 7 years and I didn't care for that either. So I finally, I've always been interested in this and always been, it's been in the back of my mind. So I finally went to a boot camp, graduated, and ever since I graduated, I've sort of fallen into education roles. I guess that's just sort of my background. So that's sort of what I've fallen into, but I love it. I feel like I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up until I was in my mid 40s, but I feel like I finally found it. And I love this stuff. I could talk about it all day long. But I struggled. Like I found this really difficult. So what I hope to do is sort of share like some of my strategies and what I did for people who are having trouble with this, just to sort of, so we can learn how to learn basically. It's probably, especially for you younger guys and probably just about everybody in this room, or it still feels weird to say room, everybody on this call, right, will probably be coding in a framework or a language that hasn't even been written yet. So part of being successful with this is constantly being curious, constantly learning new things, expanding what you know. So we're going from sort of an introduction to JavaScript into Python, right? So before we get started with Python, we're going to do algos. Okay, so I want to give you guys, so let me share my screen. Any questions, by the way, before I start sharing?
Tyler, just a heads up. We got a couple guys in the group chat or the Discord that's still trying to connect.
Oh, thank you.
I just posted the Zoom to the Discord, so hopefully they're trying to get into it. I don't know, they're having trouble getting into it from the Google Docs though.
Oh, I didn't see that. Okay. Timothy Thomas.
It worked.
You're here. Okay, cool. So how many people do we have? Well, it looks like everybody's here because it's, Ed, are we missing anybody?
I don't think so. I think everyone who wasn't showing up showed up now.
Oh, awesome.
I think they're making one person, but yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, cool. All right, so let me share my screen. Share. Cool. And I don't know which screen you see. Hold on 1 second, let me stop. It's the middle. Move you guys over here. All right. You guys see my screen?
Yep.
It should just be like the blank screen, right? Okay, I have 3 monitors, so it's probably too much. Let's see. Okay. Okay, you guys see my web browser now?
Yep.
Awesome. All right. So this is our schedule. So it's just like the one before, all the same basic stuff. Zoom link is here. My Calendly, however you say that, is right here. So if you want to schedule a one-on-one with me, you can. Same thing, the assignment checklists, assignment progress. Helpful links is kind of lean at this point. I haven't got a chance to add to that, but I will. And the lecture code is here. So I'm going to follow basically this similar procedure that Edward did. I don't have a fancy tablet like he does, so I'm going to be typing out my notes. But you guys are going to have access to this. So everything I type and do during the lecture, you'll have access to. Okay, so if you click on this link, it'll take you to my GitHub with the repo for this class. So if you want to follow along with me, that's fine. Just know that it's going to be changing day to day. So everything that we've done up to a certain point will be there. So if you get behind or your GitHub messes up on you or it's confusing, you can just throw away what you have, go through this process, and you'll have the current the repo in its current status. So all the instructions are down here. You just click on the button, select HTTPS, clone, copy it, clone it, and CD into it. So I'm going to do that process. Well, actually, I already did. I don't want to do it again. So I have this repo here. And let me move it so you guys can see it. Okay, so we're going to go into algos, and then we'll get started. After algos, we'll get into the Python stuff. So if you were able to clone this repository, the algos are right here. So I have an algos folder and a day one folder. If you weren't able to get this, don't worry about it. I'll put the files in Discord. But so for today, I posted the case insensitive one, and I posted the answer. So I wanted to go through this as a group anyway. So when we do algos, I want you to, I've been through, most of you, or a lot of you have been through a boot camp, and like when the stuff hits the fan, as they say, you revert to your training, right? So when you're doing these algos, treat it like you're actually in front of an interviewer who's asking you questions, right? Because when you're, standing in your Sunday best with a marker in your hand and somebody's asking you to do an algo, right? Your mind is going to come right back here, right? So treat this as if it's an actual interview, push each other, be courteous, but push each other, and just train as if it's the real thing. So the acronym that I use to sort of go over this stuff is Riot Walk. So it's RIOTWALK. Okay, and that's Riot is, R stands for read and repeat or recite. So if somebody gives you a question, somebody asks you, write an algorithm for reversing a string, right? The first thing out of your mouth should be a restatement of whatever the problem is, and also trying to find edge cases for that problem, right? So for this one, the algorithm is supposed to be case insensitive string compare, right? So we have a couple examples. We have an ABC, we have a capital ABC and a lowercase ABC, and then it should return true, right? So the first thing you should do, like if I'm asking you, write a algorithm that's going to compare two strings and return true if they match, false if they don't. Okay, so who would like to restate that? How would you put that in your own words or say it in a different way? Anybody? Bueller?
You're saying just restate what you just asked?
Yeah, yeah.
I guess I'll say, so you want me to take two strings, two variables, and pretty much compare them, and then return true if it's the same string, return false if it's not the same string.
Perfect. And what would be an edge case? And by edge case, I mean this one's pretty straightforward, right? ABC, ABC. This one is obviously false because it's not the same string. And we see that if their lengths are different, it's automatically false. But what if, what would an edge case be? What would be something that could be we could have an input where we wouldn't know what to do with
Maybe the strings are similar, but there's a like an extra space or something.
Yeah, good. So yeah, so that would be something you would restate the problem and say, okay, well, like what if there's an extra space? Or like what if instead of this being a lowercase b, it was a capital B? Would that still be true? Right. So you want to start thinking of like what could throw you, right? And when you're in an interview situation, everything's fair game, right? You can ask whatever questions you want. You can say, am I allowed to use Google? What if it's a blank string, right? You want to think about all these things that they could throw at you that you want to make sure that you catch, okay? Any questions on that? Okay, so I stands for input. Okay, so the question is, when we write our function, what is coming into the function? Right, so what does the function accept as arguments? So when I say input, I mean like what is the data type? And let me comment this out so we don't get the errors. Okay. So what data type does this function take?
All the strings.
Strings, right? So it takes strings. How many?
6.
Okay, so these are all the different test cases. So the function is down here. The function that we're going to write to make this work is down here.
So two strings?
Yeah, so it takes in 2 strings. What is the output? I'm sorry, so O stands for output. So it takes in 2 strings. What does it produce? What data type?
Boolean.
Boolean, perfect. Cool. So read stands for read, repeat, recite, look for edge cases. I guess there should be an east in there somewhere. I stands for input. So what does the function take in? Output is what does it return, right? What do we get once the function does what it's supposed to do? And then you kind of want to say the T is for talk. Okay, so talk. So the worst thing you can do in an interview is have somebody ask you a question and just sit there silent, right? You want to immediately start talking through your thought process. Start spewing information. Just show them what you know, because it's not necessarily about whether or not you get the right answer, right? It's about them seeing what your thought process is, what your experience is, and what your problem-solving skills are. So you want to talk through everything that you're thinking, and the more you talk, the more the interviewer may give you pointers in the right direction, okay? And then walk just means once you come up with a solution, you want to walk through it and make sure it works, okay? So I already published this, accidentally published the answer to this one. So let's see. So it was, does anybody know get the solution in Discord? What was the solution? It's okay if you look.
Like the const straight A1 or string A1.
Okay. So stir A1, what? Capitalize, right?
Are you talking about, okay, you're talking about what you posted earlier?
Yeah.
And yeah, capitalize A1 equals the capitalized string ABC with no spaces.
2 upper, right? Then triple equals the other strb, right? About 2 upper.
Okay. I'm not looking at the right thing. Sorry.
Okay, that's all right. Okay, so is that enough? If I just run this, is it gonna work?
It shouldn't, no.
No, right? So let's do a test. So if I say case insensitive compare and I pass it, how do I test it? How do I see if it works?
You pass in two strings.
Yeah.
I think on line 29, string B, I think you have like, yeah, it says last index of instead of two uppercase.
Oh, thank you. And I forgot to invoke the function too. Thank you. To uppercase. There we go. Oops. Okay.
What is the difference between the triple equals and the double equals?
So the double equal is less strict. So the double equal will sort of, JavaScript will kind of look at it and say, okay, I kind of see what he's trying to do and sort of give you, like when we were doing the algorithm last week where it was, we had like an index of an array, right? And we said double equals, and it was supposed to be a string, but JavaScript was sort of saying, okay, well, that string is in that array, so I'm going to say that it's equal. So I would, and I think most JavaScript developers would tell you never ever use double equal because it behaves in ways that a programming language just shouldn't work, right? So the triple equal, when you're doing comparison in JavaScript, always use triple equal, okay? Because otherwise it's going to give you some weird stuff like that shouldn't do. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay, so what is this going to return? So if for the first one, if it takes in ABC and ABC, let me put this back to what it was. Oops. What are we going to see?
It's not going to return anything because it's not returning.
Right, good. So it's
Something.
not, so what if
As
I
in-
say, if I highlight this and console log it, what should we see?
Isn't this? Oh, JavaScript.
I'm just getting the right file. This is sensitive. Okay. So if I run it, oops, I get undefined.
Because the
By the way-
function's still not returning anything?
Yeah, so I got to return this, right? So let's see what happens if I return this. Oops. I get true. So why do I get true?
Because the comparison return.
It's insensitive.
Yeah, it's still reading ABC and ABC and not capital ABC, lowercase ABC.
Right, so it's basically stir A is this, right? This is our argument. Stir B is this. So it takes the two, it takes the first argument, turns it into lowercase, does the same thing with the second string, turns it into lowercase, which it already is. And then it does the comparison, right? So anytime we do a comparison, what do we get?
A Boolean.
True or false.
Boolean, right? So it returns true or false. So this is all we're done, basically. This is going to return true if it's true, right? And false if it's false. So if I pass in ABC, oops, D,
Let's say false.
should say false, and it does. Okay. Any questions about this? So this was just a warm up. It's pretty easy.
Tyler, that function that, if you could scroll down, please.
Mhm.
All right, like line 29, to uppercase, that's an internal function that'll automatically change it or revert it
Yeah,
to lowercase.
yes, this will automatically, well, I did 2 upper, I could do 2 lower. It would do the same thing.
Okay, yeah, got it. Okay, sounds good.
And I think that was what I put in the solution, it was 2 lower. Okay, so this is sort of an example of what I also want to have this be an example and a warning, right? So if you're just, I mean, this is okay for this one, but if you have an internal JavaScript function that just solves the problem, then, and if it's too easy like this, you probably did something wrong. You want to do something that will not incorporate what is built into JavaScript, because this function here, this 2 lowercase, takes some time, right? It has some expense to it. It takes some resources that we're not able to really gauge what we call the big O of it. And we'll talk more about big O as we go on. I don't want to throw that at you on the first day, but we're going to, as we go along, we're going to try to determine like how efficient our algorithms are. And when you're doing something like this, it's kind of not really cheating, but if it's something like the algorithm asks you to, I don't know, capitalize a string, right? This would be too easy of an escape. You want to use some sort of for loop. Most of the time, you're going to want to use a for loop to solve the algorithm. Okay, so you're going to want to use something that you're going to build the functionality yourself. Caesar, what's up?
Yes, my question is, how will we know to use 2 lowercase or 2 uppercase when we never used that kind of variable or string before? I mean, not variable, but type before. Like
So
you said, the answer.
yeah, so when you're doing your algorithms, your Google is fair game, right? If you need to Google something, if you need to search for it, use Google, right? So that's what I did. I didn't remember this function. I mean, I Googled, how do I change case in JavaScript, and that came up. So you can use built-in functions to an extent, but you don't want, if the built-in function solves the problem, then you need to go into more depth and basically do it the hard way. Do it like write a for loop that's going to do what needs to be done. Okay, so let's go. Any other questions about this before I go on to what we're actually doing? Okay. Caesar, does that answer your question?
No, it doesn't. But it's all right.
No. So what is, I don't want to make sure.
No, because you said go to Google, but what I'm saying is the thought process. I get what you said. Okay, nothing was provided, so search. But I'm saying we're searching for something we never even used, so that wouldn't even be in the thought process. You know what I'm saying? Because we in class we go over things and then we utilize those things that we went over, but we never use those. So I'm trying to figure out how will we even know to even look up something in that manner when we never even utilize. That's the first time I ever seen someone type that out.
Okay, so well, so if you were looking at this problem, you didn't know the solution. Actually, let's go over the next one and we'll see if I can give you a better answer, because I think you want to sort of get in the right direction, or with your team decide like what's the best approach. And if something like this is built into JavaScript, you can use it. But I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying. You don't know even what to look for, right? So I would say, like, if you decide that looking at lowercase is the best answer, then you would just, go to Google and say, change case string JS, right? And then that would be the first thing that comes up. And is that what am I understanding your question? Like, well, like if you're saying you wouldn't even know what to search, is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying we never used it, so how would I even know to even think about trying to search something to use for it?
I feel like what Caesar's asking is like the question that the algo asks will tell you what to look up. If the algorithm says you need to change a string, then you know your questions are going to be string related,
Right.
like uppercase, lowercase. You don't know how to
Yeah.
turn a string uppercase, lowercase. Then I think that's when you would go look that up.
So it's gonna be in the question. It's gonna be provided for us.
The context is going to be provided for you. Obviously, the question isn't going to go, isn't going to say, hey, go to Google and search exact these words. What the problem is going to be about is given to you, but you're going to have to take the context from that. And that's it. Like, for instance, if it's a math algorithm you're getting and you're searching for strings, then, you're not getting the right context, right?
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was asking.
Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's go to, so the case insensitive one that we did that. So acronyms. So for this one, so you're given, so it says create a function that given a string returns the string's acronym, which is the first letter of each word capitalized. And it says right here, do it with dot split. So this actually gives you the hint. So you can basically Google JavaScript dot split method, and it'll show you. I would, when you're Googling stuff, I would use the W3 schools. That's a little easier to understand. The Mozilla is good, but they kind of assume that you know a lot of stuff. So start with the W3 example. So for this one, you would just say dot split JS, right? And then usually Mozilla is the first thing that one of these two will come up first. The W3 schools is usually, in my experience, easier to understand. So just, you can read, they give you examples and explain how it works. So it says use dot split if you need to, and then try to do it without. So this is the first day that we're doing this, right? So it's okay at the outset to use these functions if you need to, okay? But as we go along, we're going to utilize for loops more and more, okay? So if we're given a, so let me ask, what is our input?
String.
String.
String, right?
Strings.
And what is the output?
Capitalizing the first letter.
Capitalizing the first letter, but what is the data type?
String still.
String, right? So it takes in a string, returns a string, okay? Any questions about this one? Edge cases, anything that you think might go wrong or be confusing? No? Okay. And then the next one is string reverse. So we're given a string, return a new string that is the given string reversed. Okay, so pretty straightforward. You just, what is the input?
String.
String. What is the output?
String.
Cool. So your function, the function signature is provided for you. You just need to write the code in here that makes the function work. Okay. Questions? Caesar, do you still have a question or do?
No, you explaining everything.
Okay. Tim.
Yeah, so we're supposed to go on to get your GitHub and copy the repo.
You can, or I'm going to post it
And-
in Discord. If you're having trouble with that, I'll post it in Discord.
Where
so you-
Okay.
Where do you copy the repo at? I was having a little trouble
Yeah, so
seeing that.
if you go to the schedule under lecture code is the link.
Yeah, I saw. I just wasn't too familiar with how to do it like on GitHub, I guess. On the actual
Okay,
GitHub.
yeah, so let me just do that real fast. So if you open up Git Bash, and I have it open, and let me throw this away just in case. Oh, probably it's open. Let's see. Cool. So if I, when you open Git Bash, mine has like the slash. So if you need to, you do just, if you type CD, it'll take you to your home directory. I think Windows has issues when you try to clone a repository to your root. So change into either documents or your desktop. So CD into desktop. And then from there, you just go to my repository, which is, if you just follow the link in the schedule, it'll take you right there. Okay. And then from here, you just click on this green code button. Make sure you select the HTTPS. Okay, then you click here to copy the link to your clipboard. And then back in Git Bash, you just type git clone. And then on Windows, you have to right click and paste, or at least I do. I don't know if there's another way to do it. And that's no way to do it.
When I go to Git Bash and I click on CD desktop, it tells me there's no such file or directory.
Okay, so when I first
Same.
open Git Bash, it comes up and there's a slash here, right? Does that happen
Yeah.
to you? Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
so that means that it opens to the root of your directory. So all you have to do is type CD and enter, and it should change it to the tilde. And the tilde is basically your home directory. So as long as there's a
Yeah.
tilde here, and then if you do CD desktop, it should go there. Does that
No,
work?
no.
No? Okay, so if that's an issue, then we'll work on it after class, and you can just copy the files from Discord.
Okay.
Okay. So it's to git clone, and why isn't it pasting? Oh, try to copy it again. There we go. So that should clone it. Again, if you're having issues, it's just sort of the name of the game. So if you're having issues, just copy the files from Discord. But if that works, if you just type ls, you should see the Python March, which is what I called it. And you just CD into it, CD Python March, and you can open it with Visual Studio Code just by saying code, period. Okay, so code is the command for Visual Studio Code, and then period just means open the directory that I'm in. Okay, so if you run that, it should open in Visual Studio Code. Okay, so if it doesn't, I'm going to put it in Discord. And Tim, do you still have a question?
Yeah, yeah. So this is assuming we've initialized this folder, right? All of this to the GitHub,
What do you mean by initialized?
or because cloning your repository into a folder, okay, that just copies whatever the content is from your repo into a folder on our hard drive, which then we're just opening now through VS Code.
Yeah, just basically is what it sounds like. It just makes a copy of it.
Your phones were messed up.
I'm sorry, did you hear me?
Your mic is going crazy, Tyler.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's really bad.
I don't know what's going on, but it's kind of like everybody's voice is doing it for me.
I only hear Tyler's
same
like
here.
that.
Yeah, it's everybody for me.
Yeah, it's everybody for. I just hear it's like super fuzzy and crazy.
Yeah, it's like static. Whenever Tyler speaks.
Yeah.
Tyler's is the worst for sure.
I only hear it for Tyler's.
Let me check something.
This was that thing that happened last time when I was talking to you one-on-one. It's like the exact same thing. Yeah, it's like the crazy static.
Has it been doing it the whole time?
It just started.
It just started.
Can you hear me? Like, is it, let me, can we go to the, like, is it, or is it terrible? I can't understand what I'm saying.
Whoa.
Pretty terrible.
Yeah, I can understand.
All right,
Like Darth Vader kind of slowed down a little bit.
is that better? No, okay.
It happens to me if I use external speakers and an external mic on my computer.
My headphones off for a second. Is that better?
No.
Now I can't hear you. How about now?
No.
Not at all.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna stop talking, and I'm just gonna put the files in Discord, make the breakout rooms, and try to fix the problem. So let me make the breakout rooms.
Are you gonna post what you said on the Discord?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think he said he will post the algos on Discord and open up the breakout rooms, send everyone in, and then
Okay,
try to work it
so
out.
let's check your Discord. Jesse, do you still have your laptop? Okay, so I'm gonna open up the rooms. I'll post the files in Discord and try to fix my mic. Chuck, do you have a question?
I do. What did you say from the Git bash? How do I send it to VS Code? You said .code?
Code dot.
Code space,
Code
space
dot-
period.
One more time.
Code space period. Thanks, Ed.
Awesome. Thank you.
Any other questions? Cool. So, we might only have time to do one of the algos, so we'll see how it goes, but, I'll be around to check on this. Cool. How about now? Still bad? No, it's better. It's better? No?
Still the same. We're muted now.
How about now?
Still staticky.
Sound fine. Yes. I'm gonna try to sign off and sign back on.
Okay.